Hey everybody, it's Linda with Stamping School, and we're getting ready for May 5th, which is the launch of the new Stampin' Up! Catalog. It looks like this. If you have not gotten one from me in the mail and you are expecting one, please email me and let me know, linda@stampingschool.com. But this bundle right here there's been a lot of chatter about it because it's part of the online exclusives launch, so it's not in a catalog. It's a huge suite of Winnie the Pooh products. And a while back when I showed you my paper shares, I showed you the Pooh paper, but now I want to show you what the bundles look like so you can make good decisions before May 5th. I think it might sell out quickly, especially the designer paper. So I've got a project for you. I'm going to revisit an old favorite. We're going to make one of these old tower pinwheel cards using the Pooh suites. It's actually called Silly Old Bear. So we're going to make one of those. But let me show you the two different bundles. If you've already seen them, you can kind of scroll forward to the project. But there's a lot to these. And you might not need both bundles. It's part of a whole suite. So like the Silly Old Bear suite is $130, and it has this bundle and this bundle. It has an embossing folder and the designer paper. But you might not need all that, so I want to show you what they look like. So the Sweet Old Friends bundle, it's if you like to color, you can have the stamps with Winnie the Pooh and all his friends here. And they're sort of, they really go well with the storybook suite bundles that we had last year and the year before. It has sort of that old-timey vintage feel to it. But this is what they look like when you stamp them. If you like to stamp and color, then this bundle would be good. It's got a few standalone dies also to make a fence and honey and that sort of thing. But if you want the dies to cut out the designer paper, so all the dies will cut out this paper, which is pretty cool. So everything that you see here, all the dies on this sheet here, everything cuts out. So if you don't like to color, maybe you want the dies and a few packs of this, to keep it going. But then later on, maybe, this is all gone, but you want the stamps to kind of recreate some of this. But there's two sheets of this, and then this paper right here will cut out with the other bundle. So let me show you this one. This is probably my favorite bundle of the whole thing, because even if you don't want any of the Winnie the Pooh stuff, these dies are awesome. They all layer and they're all intricate. They have all different designs in them. You get a few acorns and leaves. Let me show you how these look. So cool. So the dies just by themselves are $37. So I think they're worth it just by themselves. Let me show you what these look like layering together. I cut them all out so we can see them. So this is a pretty good size. And then they all layer together. This is a good size. They all layer together, but in different ways. So they all are unique, but they still layer. Isn't that cool? And what I really like about these is that you can use them alone. So even though they layer nicely, they're still intricate enough to just use by itself. And then this one also, which can go in either direction. Here you go. It's got some little hearts around there, little peekaboos. And this one with a few more hearts in it. And then this one here for labels. So, and then here are the little oak leaves and that would be fun for fall, and the little acorns. So just as a standalone die set, I really like this one. I'll post all the item numbers and links for you below in the description. And if you're watching this from my blog, I'll have everything listed there too, so you're ready on May 5th. And then the stamps that come with it, this kind of goes with the designer paper because it has, oh bother, and, I will love you until forever and even after that. So these are just really old friends are the best friends. So cute. So you know how I like to stamp them to see what they can do. they have these stamps right here that will coordinate with the dies. And so that's kind of cool. So for instance, I think this one coordinates here. Look at that. So that coordinates here. And of course this one coordinates exactly to that size. So you could cut it out and it has some really cool accents that you can stamp with it. And then going back to the designer paper, you can just hand trim these out if you don't want the dies. But this one right here, not that one, next one, this one, cuts all of these out. So you can make some really fun cards with them. Look, it goes this way. You'll see on the Pinwheel Tower card that I used all of these here. And then this die cuts these out right here and puts a cool little design around them. So there's that. So you get 2 of that sheet. And then this one, I wish there were dies for these, but you can just cut these out if you want to. You can do little circles, you can do little ovals and cut them out. It's really sweet. Got some gingham on the back. This one is just an all-over print with the characters, with a pattern on the back side. And this one, you know, you could do your circles, your squares, your rectangles, and pop some of these out. I don't know if you can see here. Look at Pooh trying to get up the tree. And like a little map behind there. This one would be really great to bring out a lot of your other dies, because look, if you still have the deckled rectangles, get out your rectangles, your squares. Look, the arches. I mean, there's so many fun things. The postage. Here's one I did. Just cutting that out with a postage die. Old friends are the best friends. They're all eating at the little table together. Added some of that hydrangea ribbon. And then these teeny little butterflies that are in the catalog. Little teeny little guys in the in colors. I just added one of those. Really easy. If you want to play with some of the Winnie the Pooh stuff, but you don't want the whole suite and all these bundles, just get the designer paper, because there's so much you can do with it for $13. It's 12 by 12, 12 sheets. So a customer of mine sent me this really cute tower card. This is a small, A2 sized one. Just really sweet little card. And it reminded me of the tower cards that I did years ago. So I went back into my archives, 2021, and I'm going to link this video below, because if you haven't made a tower card before, this is an easy way to do it. And I made them in several sizes, including this 5x7. So it's a really great introductory video on how you make these the light and easy way. So I decided to make one because I was just loving this paper and I wanted to use all of it. So I die cut all the images out and all the little animals out, and I used the sentiments for each one. Oh, bother. It's just so sweet. So I made this one. It was supposed to be 5x7, but then I ended up going just a touch smaller. So it's like 5x6. So you can still put it in a 5x7 envelope. And it's still under an ounce, so you can mail it, although I would put probably a hand cancel on it. All right, let me show you how I made it. When I made these back then, a lot of people were using cardstock for the center column, and it adds a lot of bulkiness and weight. So I used designer paper on mine. What you want to do is you want to start with 4.5 by 5. So 5 is going to be how tall this is, okay? And it really doesn't matter the size in here. I just like 1 inch. That's pretty good. Looks like, yeah, Joni did 1 inch on hers too. So I'm going to still use designer paper for mine. And what you do is you score 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. It leaves you with a 1/2 inch piece. Now, when I made this one, I put a different kind of designer paper on the inside, and I can see it. See how it's light against my Mossy Meadow pages? So I'm going to go darker. See, you can kind of see the seam there. I want this to be on the outside. So we're going to fold this in and fold all these in like that and see if that makes a little bit of a difference. We're going to put glue right here on this 1/2-inch strip, and that makes our column. Right there. Okay. Then you're going to need 4 pieces of cardstock or whatever it is you want to do. If you do designer paper on all these, they'll be a little flimsy. I like cardstock and then layering it with my designer paper. So these are all 3 inches by 5 inches. Now, if you wanted it to be a little bit longer, you could do 3 1/4 by 5, and then your designer paper could be 3 inches if you want to just layer a designer paper. I hope that makes sense. So if you want to cover all of your pieces here with designer paper and make it easy in 3-inch pieces, then I would do 3 1/4 by 5 on all my panels. But what I chose to do on this one, I like having these 2-inch strips and the whole thing is covered. So I'll show you. All right. So my pieces are all 3 inches by 5 inches, and they're all the same size. Here's your column. All right, you can kind of see there's 1 inch on all sides. So you're going to glue down and put it right to the seam. Okay, there's 1. And then this one. Here's 2. All right. And this one. Here's 3. They're so easy to make. They fold flat. You know, everybody really seems to think they're fun. They stand up nicely. All right, now just watch your pieces that everything kind of lines up. Okay, there's 3, and here's the last one. There's 4. And you can make them all different colors. Sure, you can do anything you want. I'm just doing a very basic one because I like the way the Mossy Meadow went with this designer paper everywhere. I thought it looked really nice. Okay, so that's it. Then all you have to do is decorate. All right, now I'm adding this wood grain paper here on all my 2-inch pieces because I couldn't bear the thought of cutting into the designer paper for the other side. Like, I mean, I like that, but I want that, so I didn't want to give any of it up. Out of all of them, this one I probably could have done more of, and then did this fun map on the other side. Oh, that reminds me, I want to show you the map. So the embossing folder that comes with the suite, I think it's called 100 Acres. This is how it looks. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think it's kind of cool. It's supposed to look like this, I think. But the details kind of lost. I tried to do it in crumb cake, and I had a real hard time seeing it. Can you see it? It's very fine. If you end up getting the whole suite, this is like $3 for the embossing folder. You know, I did all the math on it, so it's worth it. But to buy it separately, I mean, I don't know. This is the white. Can you even see? Maybe a little bit. It's really hard. I felt like it should be a little more something, but the designer paper kind of has the same effect to it. So anyway, so I could have used that. But for all these little side panels here, these are all 2 inches. And this designer paper is called Wood Grain Wonders. I've used it before, and I love it because it's got all these different colors in it, and the same, you know, some other colors on the other side, from a sort of like a vanilla to a basic beige, crumb cake, pecan, espresso, and they're just a nice, soft background. So I added all of these, and they're 2 inch by 5 inch, and they're going to cover this completely on the one side. So I added those on all of the 2 inch pieces and went around and did that. I'm not going to remake the whole thing for you. I'm just going to show you because that's part of the fun, is putting it all together. Okay, so all these are 2 inch pieces, which these work great for. All right, so I'm going to go in slow motion here. We'll start. Now, which one should be the front? I don't know. when I did this card here with the pansy paper, even one side had a little pocket in it for a gift card if you want. But here's the designer paper, and I just did a little strip back here of the other side. I did crumb cake and vanilla for a lot of my sentiments. And one thing, if you're going to be doing pop-ups like I did, kind of think about putting some at the bottom and some at top, so that if you do mail it, you know, and it just sort of folds together better. So like this one, you deserve a little treat. And I like some going in this direction, which is kind of a nice thing to do for those 2-inch pieces. Oh, bother. And there's a little bee stamp, which is kind of sweet. All of these are still cut out from the designer paper. And I didn't use a lot of labels. You could die cut them, but I just did little strips of paper and just cut them and then pop them up. The best kind of days are the days spent together. That was a little nerve-wracking stamping on that directly, but I knew I could have covered it up if I really screwed it up. So this is the arch die. The mossy meadow just worked well with this paper. Look how sweet. And that. So there it goes. So they can leave it on their desk or something. It'll stand up, and there's something to look at on each side. That's the fun thing about these Pinwheel Tower cards. So my recommendation, definitely the dies. If nothing else, the dies are so great for some fun shapes that have texture and dots and stripes on them all. And then for sure, the designer paper. So I'll link everything below. We'll be back on May 5th and when the catalog launches. And we'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.